We welcome you into the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. This big guy here is Goon. I would then be Ironhead. We're back together again, better than ever. How are the teeth? How's the mouth doing today, dear Goon?
Oh, it's groovy, buddy. It's all good. I got a nice swollen tongue. I told Jeffrey off the air that I cracked a tooth watching Oppenheimer, and I thought it was funny yesterday. I was getting all these x-rays and they're worried about radiation. And I said, well, I was watching Oppenheimer when I cracked a tooth. So, yes, had some work done on Tuesday, and you did not want to hear me talk on Tuesday afternoon because I just sounded like sloth pretty much.
I think I did want to hear you talk is the thing. I think I actually did want to hear it.
It was rather impressive, but no, it's all good. I had to go in, and I told Jeff off the air. What was funny is that the way it cracked, and that wasn't the problem. There was no pain from the actual cracking of the tooth. It was the actual sharp edge that was left by the cracked tooth that I kept on just ripping my tongue apart. And I had about 8 different dentists and dental hygienists and people coming into the chair when I was in there on Tuesday morning, and they were laughing and they were talking about, oh my God. Their fingers were in my mouth, feeling how rigid and sharp this thing was, and it was unbelievable. Well, I don't know, Jeff. Have you ever heard of this like wax stuff? But these little molds that you just put it over top, something like that.
No.
Oh my God, it was unbelievable. Carrie went out and got it Monday, so I dealt all day Sunday with this thing, just ripping my tongue apart. And then Carrie went and got this little mold, and I just pushed it down and created this little mold on the sharp edge of the tooth. And it kept everything from getting cut, but the damage was already done to the tongue. So Dr. Nick at Center Carnicella took care of me as usual. But in a roundabout way, what did I say? Whose popcorn was it?
I can't imagine it would be the Mad Turtles.
It was the Mad Turtles popcorn.
Blasphemy!
Last year, it was sitting there. Me and Carrie got a little bag for the Oppenheimer movie. Get the whole movie scene going, and then I go and crack a tooth like that. So in a roundabout way,
to let the Mad Turtle know we've gotten nothing but rave reviews up until now. And now we're out there destroying people's.
I'm glad they went to the caramel popcorn this year instead of that, the microwavable stuff. So,
yeah, they got
all good. Everything all worked out. So,
well, let's start. Going just a tough, disappointing loss for the Nittany Lion basketball team last night at Rec Hall.
What?
It was a game that you were hoping going in, right? I thought Penn State maybe at Rec Hall could use a little magic, get back on track. But unfortunately, Illinois just, and listen, credit to Illinois. That team knows, it's a veteran team. It was a tough environment, but every time Penn State started to get close, Illinois pulled away.
Left TV screen there, Jeffrey.
It was just a tough loss.
Jeff, I don't know if you
for the Nittany Lions.
What time did you turn the game off?
But well, a couple minutes. It was late. A couple minutes left, and I turned it off and got a good night's sleep. But now, imperative that they win this game against Indiana just to try to salvage something out of the season. Because now you've lost 4 straight. Again, you kind of ruined the.
Yeah.
Well, wait. What are they showing on this on the Big Ten network?
You turned it off at the wrong time there, Jeffrey.
What? In all honesty,
magic was there.
There is no doubt. In all honesty, that was. Listen, Penn State actually played well throughout the game. It's just Illinois played better, and Illinois is ranked 12th in the country for a reason. They are a really good team, really veteran team. And it was one of those things with like a couple minutes left. I'm like, man,
it's so close.
It's tough because Penn State, I come away feeling like Penn State played well. Like, I think there's a lot of good things they can take out of this, but it's tough when you keep losing, to these good teams.
Yep.
And Illinois just then, that final 2 minutes and 20 seconds, and I said on our morning show today, I want to give credit to Penn State, and certainly Penn State took advantage of the opportunity. But to me, this was much more just a complete collapse by Illinois, missing free throws. The foul, how you commit that foul with less than 5 seconds left is just inexplicable.
Yep.
It was just bad decision after bad decision. Tough break after tough break, too. They missed a couple of layups. Even the last shot was a very makeable, and it looked like it was, and easy in when it left the hands. I mean, so
Did you feel? Did you watch it? I mean, I have to ask you.
So
I know you
here,
turned,
so
we were kidding around, but
yeah, no. Full disclosure. So we're having some. We're needing a little extra attention for the Mad Turtle these days. So the Mad Turtle is watching a TV series and wanted us watching it together last night. So I am following the game as we're watching the last episode. We got home right after we had some things we had to do, got home shortly after, probably about 6:45, 6:50. I think it was, it might have even been a little later than that. Now I'm thinking about it. Anyway, so I'm listening to the game on the way home. I watched the game for about 5 minutes, and Mad Turtle's getting ready for bed. Mad Turtle comes down. We turn the series on. I'm going to sneak down the stairs, and then I'm like, oh, maybe I better not. Like, it feels like as a parent, I need to stay here. So I'm following the game, and I'm like, oh, my gosh. And they're falling behind, and then the second half. So literally the show ends with about, I think there was 6.5 minutes, 7 minutes left in the game. So I do flip it on, kiss the kiddo goodnight, and I'm watching. And again, I'm watching, and I had been following throughout. I'm trying not to be too obvious, checking the phone, but I'm like, oh man, this, that, Kern's doing well, but boy, it just feels like we can't get over the hump here. And same thing, I'm watching the game, and I'm like, yeah, this feels like what I thought it was happening while I was following it. And even when they're, down to 220, and even when they got it to within 4, I'm like, man, this is going to make it a really respectable final score.
Correct.
Like, that's good. And then again, Illinois just, I want to give Penn State credit for sure. I mean, you take advantage of it, but
absolutely,
my gosh, I mean, Illinois turning the ball over there and trying to dribble through the double team. So then I'm like, well, like, they actually do have a shot. I'm still not thinking they're going to win this game. And even when they missed the 2 free throws, I'm like, well, I mean, Illinois is a good defensive team. I didn't have an especially great night last night, but I mean, generally. So I'm like, but hey, there's a chance. Like, I wouldn't have thought 2 minutes ago there would be even a chance. And then he puts it out, and I thought it was going to be a 4-point play. I thought I thought that was going in. Hicks' shot was, I mean, it was close to going in with the foul. And I mean, and the foul was absolutely the right call. It was just such a bad decision. Yep. And that, but even then, it's like, all right, can you make all 3? Like,
and they
haven't
been. They were not shooting the threes well, or in the free throws well all night.
And man, I mean, all credit in the world to Hicks. Like, nails all 3, doesn't seem phased at all. And then, honestly, when it left his hands, I'm like, oh my gosh. But as they're setting that up, I really thought I'm like, they're not going to let this slip away now. Like, you can't have that comeback. And then I thought they did when that shot initially went up. But that is one of those. So whether you attribute it to the Rec Hall magic or whatever, like, that is magical. Like, you do not win games like that ever against teams like Illinois. Like, that just does not happen. Yeah. With the circumstances being what they were.
With that said, we matched up very well with them. They are without a big.
Yeah, and
they don't have a big team.
Correct. And I thought, again, I thought Penn State played well throughout the game. Not as well as Illinois. I mean, Illinois outplayed them for 37.5 minutes, but I thought Penn State was playing well. I mean, I thought it was taking a good by a good team in order to hold Penn State off, but it did feel like they were holding Penn State off. So there's a couple of things that I think are going to be interesting. So Brad Underwood, oddly enough, did not seem exceptionally happy with his team. Those final couple of minutes
his comment
after the game on what he was disappointed with.
He goes, that place was magical tonight, though. That was really. He goes, that was a great environment.
I thought you were talking about his comment on his team. What did you like about the last 2.5 minutes? Everything. I didn't like our defense. I didn't like our toughness. I didn't like our inability to make easy shots. I didn't like. it goes right down the list.
Yeah, they imploded. They really did, because they had that game handled, and then Penn State could not rebound. I mean, I think the disparity was 25 different rebounds.
Well, the second and third chances that Illinois got going, I mean, it wasn't just that. I mean, a couple of those, and they were kind of at key points of the game where, all right, the defense held. Oh, they got a rebound. Oh, they missed it again. Oh, they got another. It's like, geez, guys.
I remember it was down to 7 at one point. I looked at Carey, and I said, "We're cursed," because it was like they got 3 offense. They had 3 shots on a possession, and I said, "We're absolutely cursed. We need a big man in there." Again, but they came through, and they made things happen when they had to make it happen. It was like the crescendo of like the fans. Yep. It's like they wanted to get fired up, you wanted to be jacked up for it, and but you were going to get let down. And then it was like, holy crap, we're not going to get let down. And it was mayhem in there.
Now, you were at the game.
Yes.
On TV, they show the kind of opening shots. Now, I'm not sure how close to tip off the shots were necessarily taken, but it seemed like they were live shots. Yep. I know it was sold out, but like wrestling, there is, there have been exceptions there too. I'm not going to make it sound like every wrestling match they've had every seat filled, but I've not seen like corners empty. Were those corners? I mean,
they were definitely empty for sure. Because I was on the, I guess you would say, the opposite of the entrance on the women's bathroom side.
Okay. Yeah.
And I ain't been in rec hall in a long time. I'm the wrestling matches and stuff like that. So they're quick. You don't really have to use the facilities.
Yep. Yep.
So I was on the women's side. So N1, I believe, or N5, I think it was. So across the court. Now, I don't know if they sold standing room only tickets, but there was a lot of people on the track, or like behind my seats and stuff like that watching. Okay. So I don't know if they had done that, but I don't know. I know that they sold the game out because of the people who, but I was told that they weren't allowing secondary sales. So like I got my tickets through Ticketmaster through my neighbor who sent them to me and stuff like that. He didn't go through a StubHub or a SeatGeek. I don't think that was being done.
Huh.
I don't know.
I don't know.
But that would explain why it was a sellout, but then people who couldn't use the tickets, you couldn't sell them online.
Had empty seats.
And I don't know what that was all about. But yes, there were definitely the 4 corners. There was definitely pockets, because I sat, no one in front of me 3 or 4 rows, and no one behind me 3 or 4 rows. Now I was on the end, as far away from the action as possible, but I was completely fine with it. Must be told, my wife got here in 1998. And that was her first time ever in rec hall.
Is that right?
Yeah. Wow. I had one for her too that we talk about it. It still blows our mind. I have never been to the Creamery, the old one or the new one. Swear to God, never have. Now, don't get me wrong. I've enjoyed my fair share of my Creamery ice cream in the dining halls in our football dining hall.
How is
but
that
I
possible?
Never actually have physically gone into the Creamery. Never. Now,
that is
people
crazy.
Come up,
that is my most surprising stat of the year.
Now, if there was a steakhouse on campus, if I'd ever showed up at that place, you'd have an issue. I'm not a sweet. Well, that wasn't used to not be a sweet tooth, but that's changed over my fatness. But yeah, I'd never been to the original one, the older one, or I mean, I walked by it many times going to and from class, but it just never really went in, and I don't know, didn't have the money to, I guess. But when people come up, like my sister's coming up this weekend with her 2 sons, they will go to the Creamery, but I will drop them off and circle around and stuff like that because parking is such an issue over there. So I will. I don't think I never had Creamery.
I got you.
Man, I've had a lot of it, but
I am
never
stunned.
actually physically been in there.
You have left me stunned.
Is that more surprising than my wife never having been in rec hall? I had classes in rec hall.
That's the bigger upset. Yes.
Well, it's an upset because I'm a fatty. Yeah.
Stunned. Well, no, it's just, I mean, it's the Creamery. Like, man.
I left the Ironhead speechless here.
I am just absolutely flabbergasted.
I didn't. Yeah, so that's a bigger upset than my wife never being in rec hall. I had classes in rec hall, multiple classes in rec hall. I guess that she was biobehavioral health, so she didn't have to have the physical education majors, I guess. Whatever.
Yeah, that is. I mean, both things are wild.
I had bowling in Rec Hall.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
You should have gone over and had a creamery ice cream cone after doing the bowling.
We're doing first over the weekend, so I guess we have to.
That is amazing, truly amazing. I am stunned.
You think I'm that big of a fatty, huh? Jeez.
No, it's not even that. It's just that how could you be on campus for more than a year, let alone for decades? And not swing by. Just at some point, just hey, as long as we're here, might as well stop in. And no, it has nothing to do with even if you're not a sweet tooth, and even if you're a skinny mini, it's like you gotta swing by and at least have the experience.
I am a butter pecan connoisseur when it comes to creamer ice cream. I'm for sure, but I'm a soft serve ice cream guy though.
That's fair, but you still got to stop in and once experience the creamery experience.
When we're on campus, I didn't have points to go there. I sure as hell didn't have money to go there.
Yeah,
and I had my meal and my lunch, breakfast, lunch, and dinner were at our dining halls, where we had creamery ice cream.
Yeah,
did they make the yogurt that we used to have in the dining halls? Was that from the creamery?
Well, the frozen yogurt. I don't know that. Yeah. I don't know that.
Or they just all hard. I don't know. But yeah, it's just a.
All right.
It's a weird. I mean, yeah, because I mean, I will be there this weekend, but I have never actually stepped foot in there.
Amazing.
I have had.
I understand.
I will tell someone to get me like a whatever, a cone.
Yeah.
But I just never have actually physically gone into it.
That is just
the upset of the week right there.
Yes, by far. Forget about Penn State's comeback upset. Like this is this might even top the U.S. beating Russia in the 80 Olympics. I mean, this anniversary is crazy, crazy stuff.
Yeah, it's up there. You're right. Today is the anniversary of the 80 Olympic team. So
good times.
Your honest opinion, that Miracle on Ice, how many 100 games, how many times does the USA win that game?
Maybe one if they're lucky.
Yep. That's how insane of an upset it was.
Yes.
And I love watching the documentaries of the Miracle on Ice because it's like the Americans, the joy in their faces, like it looked like the Russians were jealous of it. Because they had no more joy in their life. It was like they just go and win everything, and there's no fun or this and that. And you had these college kids go out there. They had the youth just going crazy winning that game, and you could actually see the Russian players literally on ice watching these guys, like almost in awe. Like, wow, I wish we could do something like that. I thought that was the coolest part of.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
The Miracle on Ice is a pretty cool thing. Wasn't on live TV. Imagine that now.
It's amazing to think about.
But then no one really even knew the outcome.
No.
Because there wasn't ESPN. ESPN would have been around then, early. But it wasn't like it was like they were broadcasting it or that. But
people weren't glued in to find out what was happening. They were watching just
they were not on Twitter. They were not on X. They were not on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all that stuff.
Yeah.
You didn't have that. So literally the Miracle on Ice was on tape delay.
Yep.
Well, hell, even like some of the Wayne Gretzky era Edmonton Oiler games were on tape delay in Stanley Cup finals. That's insane to think about with our society the way it is now.
It is. No question about it. Penn State basketball, Goon. Now, the question is, can you translate this now into take that momentum? And because, listen, I think this is a really interesting game coming up here on Saturday because this is an Indiana team that is, I think, now in desperation mode as well. And undoubtedly has revenge on its mind after, Penn State pretty well handled the Hoosiers in Assembly Hall back at the beginning of this month.
Crazy, right?
And so, but now you have a Penn State team that, again, in this up and down season that has been, now all of a sudden you're like, well, if they win this game and they can get on a little bit of a roll, win a couple more, like, is the tournament back in play again? The tournament being the NCAA tournament. And can they get into, how high can they get in the conference to set up Big Ten tournament action? It really is crazy. Goon, week by week, well, even game by game, but I mean, week by week, you assess and you think you have some idea. All right, looks like the conference is starting to shake out this way, and then you turn around and there's Purdue losing to Ohio State. There's Penn State winning a game it has no business winning over Illinois. On and on. Indiana losing games that it shouldn't. Rutgers winning games that you wouldn't think it would. Like it is. We'll see. We'll see what happens. And there are so many things that could happen, could play out one way or another. But, they keep talking about the teams that are in, teams that are out, teams that are on the – but it changes. I mean, it changes nationally too. But, I mean, in the Big Ten, you're like, okay, I think this team's in. Oh, no, I don't know if that team's going to be in. I think this team's in. Oh, no, we'll see. We'll see how it all finishes out. And again, the fun thing, I think, from an objective fan's perspective anyway, right, is you don't know. I mean, truly, one night to the next, it's like, I don't know.
But
I mean, the one thing you thought you knew was, okay, well, yeah, but Purdue is like, all right, we know Purdue. Well, and it's still Purdue. But, I mean, come on, you're losing to an Ohio State team that just lost his coach, and like, how does that happen? And the answer is it's sports, and it's college sports even more so, because you're dealing with a bunch of college kids, and it is easy to get overconfident. It's easy to get overly excited. It's easy to get distracted by what people are telling you, and to say nothing of classes, girlfriends, life that is going on out there. The number of kids that are dealing with sick family members, friends who have illness. You don't know what's going on in their lives. Well, this guy didn't perform up to my standards. What a bum. He had a bad game. Well, did his uncle just pass away? Do you have any idea if his girlfriend just broke up with him? There's a gazillion things going on in these folks' lives, and we're sitting there and pronouncing grand sweeping judgments on their character based on how they played versus our expectations in a given event. Just something to think about next time
this is true.
Watching a college sports event. By the way, I don't know.
Baseball is on right now, Jeffrey.
Yes, it is.
Baseball is back. Pirates.
Undefeated, still tied for first.
Undefeated,
tied for first.
Got that going for them.
Unlike the Penguins. Penguins are not tied for first.
By the way, I mean, it is a pretty good one. You're a hockey guy. I'm a hockey guy. Is the Pittsburgh Penguins top four? Yager, Lemieux, Crosby, Malkin.
Yes.
That's their Mount Rushmore. Is there a better one? Because it's been online all week. I mean, like the original six, I mean, that was like 6 teams with all the players in the countries,
Yeah.
So it's like you go back to the Maurice Richard days and like that's some serious talent out there. Then you got to get – I would lean a little bit more towards Detroit Red Wings with Gordie Howe and Ted Lindsay and Fedorov and what's the Yzerman type of, like that's a pretty, I mean, but don't get me wrong. The size of Malkin, Yager, and Lemieux. Are insane. Like it's crazy how big they were. And to do, I should show you a clip I had. Somebody sent me this clip. It was 12 seconds of just Mario and Ying, and I call him Ying Yager is what I call him, of Jaromir Yager passing the puck back and forth in the offensive zone. And it's 12-second clip, and I think I saw 30 slashes and hacks. I'm not lying to you. That's how they played defense back in the day.
Yeah.
And these guys still did not give the puck up. If these guys played nowadays, it would be criminal. Like the same thing they say about Jerry Rice and like the wide receivers in the 80s, how much they would dominate nowadays with all the rules and stuff like that because they had to play with their head on a swivel back in the day. Like these guys now, I mean, I'm watching this clip, and it was 30. Just hacks, slashes, lifting the stick. I could not believe what I was watching. And still, none of Yager or Lemieux did not give the puck up. It was insane to watch.
Yeah. The one thing with going back to basketball real quick, the one thing with Kanye Clary out of the lineup, whether Clary's in or not, Ace Baldwin is obviously a key component of this team. But I do think there is something to be said. A lot of times, I think sports are better for the participants when you simplify things and make them a little easier to understand. And I do think with Ace Baldwin being clearly the point,
correct,
and knowing what it is now, clearly he needs to do consistently, what his role is, I think it is allowing everything else, like he can facilitate everything, and I think everybody else now has a better understanding. Again, I don't know that I'd necessarily go as far as Penn State's a better team. Maybe I would. I think a lot of people would, given the results. But I
have a feeling on that.
I do think that they are. I think it is easier to define everybody's role right now, and I do think they have coalesced around each other and around Mike Rhodes. Which, listen, when a star player departs, and again, I have no idea. I don't know about you. That's been my most asked question. Usually, something with wrestling is my most asked question. But this week, what happened with Kanye Clary? And part of it is
we don't know.
Is willful ignorance. I mean, there's some people that I keep thinking, I could probably call and at least hear what people are saying.
Gone.
Like I don't. And it's one of those things. I'm not sure. I really want to know. Like and I'm not. Again, I have no idea. So maybe it wouldn't be a big deal if I knew. But it's almost one of those where I just soon be ignorant. It doesn't really matter to me at the end of the day.
It mattered to the guys,
but I think I think this team is
galvanized them a little bit. I mean,
I think so.
I look at it like, because you're just going off of what you're reading on the internet, and so am I. And that is, he was a cancer. He complained about NIL money. He wasn't going to school, and guys just didn't like him. So you get rid of that guy, and your team instantly becomes a little bit closer, in my opinion. One, it's the head coach and the coaching staff are not kowtowing to a certain player.
Yes.
And that put Mike Rhodes back at the top of the heap. Like, I'm the big dog here. He don't want to be here. He's gone. Again, this is all speculation. We do not know. I'm just telling you what I've read and,
Well, and regardless of what it was, I do think it is clearly, and again,
it helped them.
And I don't know what it was, but I do think Mike Rhodes and any first-year head coach, like, you have got to stick to, all right, whatever guidelines it is that you are laying out for your players, you have got to follow through then. And again, whatever this situation was, I have no idea, but I do think it is important for Mike Rhodes or any first-year head coach to clearly establish what the expectations are for the players. So I think that also resonates in the locker room because it is really difficult if you have a star player who asks for special treatment and the coaches acquiesce, right? Like, that is a really hard recipe for success then as a team.
Yep.
Not saying it can't happen, but
no, it does happen. There's no doubt about it. It does happen, but there are places that you can go. And I mean, Mike Rhodes is going to sit there and say, well, this might hurt the team losing our best player. But Mike Rhodes said, you know what? It's my team.
We're trying to build
something here, and I'm not going to sit there and change his way. I mean, he's a hard-headed freaking Pollock from the coal region. I mean, we understand the type of guy he is, hardworking, this and that. I mean, he just said it was time to go. It's time to go. I mean, he made a decision, and the team actually very much responded to it.
No question about that.
I mean, that was I don't know what it was last night, Jeff. We just look small. And I know we don't have big players, but I'm watching the game last night. I don't know. It just looked like they looked like smaller. It was weird.
Well,
but
Illinois is
not a big
veteran
team either.
But they're a veteran team, and so I think they are they've been through the college rigors and the weight program and all of that for a little more in most cases than the Penn State.
I have
kids,
my Illinois people. Like I got one guy in the Bahamas and one guy in Chicago. So we're texting back and forth, and then the game's over, and I'm like, the one in Chicago I'm cool with. We could just I call it today busting his chops, but the guy in the Bahamas, he don't take losses too well, especially when something like that happened.
Well,
he took that one to heart, and I was just like,
truthfully, I can understand.
I'm gonna let that one lay here for a week or two, and then give him a call and see how he's doing.
Yeah, no, that would be
great game,
very tough to take.
Wonderful game, set up perfectly by the university, and would have liked to have seen it more of a wall-to-wall, complete craziness, but the players responded very well, and you could just feel the energy. Like they fed off of the energy, because it was like the whole second half they were like getting there, and then Illinois would pull away again. They were getting there, and then they pull away again, and it was like you wanted to get really into it and get really crazy, but you knew you were just going to get let down.
Never had the opportunity until right at the end, and it was this complete, absolute mayhem in there. And good for Coach Rhodes. I mean, he deserved that game. I texted him last night. He goes, "What an environment!" I mean, and then there are people who were like, "Well, why don't we play every game? We play every game now." You know how hard that would be to do that. I mean, what is there? 5 teams that compete in there right now? Yeah. Well, yes. I mean, both gymnastics teams, both volleyball teams, and wrestling, but different seasons for women's volleyball. But yes,
but they go from November till now. I mean, you're going to be.
Well,
there will be some crossover, but it's just that's what somebody said. It was just to manage all that, the parking, which is we were talking off of air, just absolute mayhem and just crazy that was. And there's ways to fix that, but I don't know if people want to listen to that. So,
I really don't know. I mean, I won't dwell on this, but I really don't understand why Penn State, why you can't just collect the $10 as people are coming in and
parking
and open the gates up. Yeah, open the parking garage gates up at halftime or whatever. I get that there are people in there.
They weren't collecting the $10 either. It was all you had a pre.
No, I'm saying, but collect the $10 as people. I mean, if you prepay, great, show your pass or whatever. But for those that don't prepay, go ahead and collect the $10 on the way in. You're not going to be slowing down anything more than what it is right now. You're having to stop going in anyway, and there's confusion sometimes with people. Like, I think to me, that part wouldn't change in terms of. I'm talking about the timing.
Yeah.
The going in, if you collected just the $10 again from you are already paying the workers to be there. I don't know how many it is that they have for wrestling. I don't know how many. I didn't go last night. I was watching on, watch the last 7 minutes on TV. But like for wrestling, I don't think collecting the $10 just as you're going in, because they have at least, I don't know what it is. Well, there's at least, but there's at least 5 employees, parking employees, because they have a couple people waving. You don't need people waving people in. Once you get into the garage, you can figure out where the open spots are. To me, that you could save there, have people collect the money, and actually you might even save time on people going in, because you can have people walk up, in the line. You don't have to wait till they get to the gate and continue to collect. So you get that flow going in a little quicker, actually. But then going out, just open up the gates at midway point of either halftime of a basketball game, midway through the gymnastics meet, or whatever. And I understand. I think I understand. Maybe I don't. Maybe there's a lot more people parked in there than what I'm realizing, left over from the day parts that would take advantage of this. There will be some. I understand that. But again, you're collecting. It is a moneymaker at the end of the night, big time, for any of these sporting events. And for the handful, or even if it was 50 cars, and I don't think it would be that many, and I don't know, maybe somebody with the parking office would call, but you don't know anything, Ironhead, there'd be 500 cars coming out of there not paying. But it feels like there would not be many cars that would escape, and maybe you just implement the, a little earlier, but leave it until whatever it is, an hour and a half, 2 hours before the event, and then start collecting the $10 as people are going in. And then again, let people out from about midway through or whatever, at least at the end of the event. If you're worried about losing even more money, fine, wait till the end of the event. But just let people go then. Just open it up so you get some
It was complete mayhem, stupidity on the way out.
It is
brutal. What they do on the way out is they have the things there, and somebody has to sit there. You have to show your prepaid parking, whatever, and then they have to run that, and then you're allowed to go. It's like, just open the doors.
We went to the Steelers game. Took the Mad Turtle to his first Steelers game, to the Jaguars game this past fall. And I'm telling you, we got out in Pittsburgh, got out, and we parked in a parking garage. We were, obviously many more people trying to get out. And then even with the traffic, we were out of there and back to Monroeville sooner than it took us to get out from the, what was the last dual meet at Rec Hall, Nebraska, to get out of that parking garage. That's insane.
Jeff, if you need a little help, I have it.
Yeah.
I have the hybrid car. So I get to go to the charging stations.
There you go.
They are right there, bang, bang.
That's helpful. That's helpful.
Tax breaks and quicker parking. So
there you go.
Watching the Dodgers Padres here. It's 8-0 in the first inning. They have 2 outs, and looks like it could be 9 or 10 now. Yes, Dodgers are absolutely loaded and just playing batting practice right now. They're out of the first inning, 5 hits, 8 runs.
Yeah,
they chased 2 pitchers in the first inning. So.
We'll see. It's all about the postseason. They'll be there, but wouldn't quite get the rings out just yet. We'll see what happens.
The problem with the Dodgers is their payroll is like $11 this year.
Well, yeah, there's
in 30 years
it is amazing.
It's $400 billion, but hey, it is what it is.
We will take a break here. We are back with more of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show here on this Thursday in mere minutes.
Coast into fall with a new Kia from Lion Country Kia. Right now, get a 24 Kia Seltos for 5.25% APR for up to 48 months. A new Sportage plug-in hybrid at 0.9% APR. Check out our 23 Sorrento hybrid for as low as 4.5% APR. And don't forget, all 2023 and 2024 Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Stop in and meet with one of our sales experts today and coast into fall at Lion Country Kia. We want to see you in a Kia.
Since retiring, I have spent my time searching the countryside for the hottest wings in America. I always seem to end up disappointed. You call these hot? Back off, Luigi.
Mamma mia.
Look, hands it, busboy. Your wings suck! I knew I should have stuck with Quaker Steak's triple atomic wings. You think I'm tough enough?
The Center Hall Farm Store has been serving Center County and beyond for well over a half-century. A small family business, the Center Hall Farm Store specializes in animal nutrition and manufactures its feed fresh using local ingredients. Get the best in horse, cow, pig, chicken, and bird feeds. If you're not already a customer, stop in and see why so many of your neighbors are. The Center Hall Farm Store at 110 West Allison Street in Center Hall, or call us at 814-364-1393.
Sioka Toyota of Williamsport invites you to stop in today or check us out online. We have the smart path to your next Toyota, like the all-new Crown, BZ4X, the all-new Grand Highlander, Corolla Cross Hybrids, Sequoias, and more. Over 100 new Toyotas here and on the way. Don't make a $1,000 mistake. Choose Sioka Toyota of Williamsport and see the Sioka dealership's difference. Buy or reserve yours today and see for yourself why Sioka Toyota is the only stop you need for your next new car. Sioka Toyota, it just feels right.
Ready to be part of something bigger? Come pave the road to success at Glen O'Haw-Baker and discover a career where your hard work and determination can build a bigger, better future. Our team believes we can build a stronger future together. Join us at Glen O'Haw-Baker, where we value teamwork on the field and on the job. Go to GOHcareers.com to apply. GOHcareers.com. And best of luck to all the Center County sports teams all season long from everyone at Glen O'Haw-Baker.
With a Timber Kids savings account, you can start to save money, earn prizes, and teach your kids the value of savings. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. Building futures is what we do at TFCU.
You really need to belong to a credit union. You belong at TFCU, Timberland Federal Credit Union, a credit union you can grow with.
The Goon and Ironhead.
And we welcome you back in on this Thursday afternoon, somewhat dreary Thursday here in the Valley of Happiness today.
Horribly dreary.
I'll take dreary over snowy, though. I got to tell you.
Snow was so pretty, though.
I know. It is.
What was it, Sunday
and
night?
it's fun. The Mad Turtle loves it. We love
had a
having
little snow
snowball
on Sunday
fights.
night? No, Friday night.
Sledding.
Friday night was beautiful.
Yeah.
We got home.
Yeah,
we went
it was.
to dinner, came home, and it was just like, I just love the noise of,
Mhm.
and they were thick, heavier snowflakes coming down.
They
so it
were
was good.
big wet ones.
And it's also funny watching my dogs with the 3-inch legs running around in 3 inches of snow, and it's just hilarious. It's one of the funnier things to watch of a French bulldog is to see how like they literally drag their whole body across the bottom, and they don't like it, and they try to hop through it and stuff like that, and it is comical.
Well, we're going to test the Rec Hall magic tonight. Lady Lions will take on second-ranked Ohio State. Penn State looking to snap a 5-game losing skid now, and that game will tip off at 6 o'clock at Rec Hall. So if they win that one tonight, then we truly know there is some kind of special magic happening in Rec Hall. And Penn State men's volleyball will be home this weekend at Rec Hall as well against NJIT. Penn State women's gymnastics. The volleyball will be in the South Gym. The women's gymnastics team is hosting the Big Five meets, so there'll be 5 Big Ten teams competing Friday night, and then Penn State will be one of 5 competing on Saturday night at Rec Hall. And then, of course, the Penn State wrestling team will wrap up the dual portion of its schedule against Edinburgh on Sunday in Rec Hall at 2 o'clock.
When did they? Just trying to think now. Why Edinburgh? And I'm not insulting Edinburgh. I've actually visited Edinburgh and done Tim Flynn when he was the coach up there. I would go up there every year and do a fundraiser with them. So it just seems odd, but it's like the end of the season. Just get some.
Well, they're trying to move
legs
around. So one of the things they would like to do is keep the connections with the other Pennsylvania teams.
That's what I like.
And so, Clarion has been an end of the year opponent. I know they had talked to Bloomsburg. I'm not sure where things are. And there's been other schools. I mean, Buffalo, they've had other teams. Yeah, Lock Haven. So I think with that last duel of the season, you're coming off the grind of the Big Ten. And make no mistake, the Big Ten duel season every year is a grind.
Yeah.
And so
I noticed that last week. You can just tell
that last dual meet of the year, then coming off the Big Ten season, you want to be a relatively sure W. I mean, you're not looking to schedule your Oklahoma State
Senior Day
or your Cornell in that particular meet. And yeah, it's Senior Day, but I think again you're trying to get another opportunity for the home fans to see your team. So it needs to be a home meet. So where you can, you'd prefer to have a team that's willing to just come in, not looking for the return date. And where you can, again, a relatively easy W so that you can get, as many of your kids in the right frame of mind, feeling good about the way the season ended as you can. So I think there's some things that factor in there. And part of it is finding teams that are willing. Ryder, Edinburgh willing this year, Clarion. I mean, there are teams that are like, yeah,
that's huge for them.
We'd like the opportunity. And there are others that say, no thanks, so we'll pass them. That's fine too. So
now I see this as, and just correct me if I'm wrong, how James is strategically created this playing Villanova, Delaware, a West Virginia, a Syracuse, a Temple, where they're rotating all of our old rivals every couple of years. They'll play a couple of them, type of thing, and I like that.
Yeah, I do too.
Still keeps that the geographical stuff together. You got one or two teams that you play and recruit against. And you got to smack them around a little bit, but that's good. I like how Edinburgh's coming in for that. I really do.
Yeah, and honestly, I think Penn State would prefer. Edinburgh is really down right now. Like this is a team that is struggling mightily. I don't think this is the ideal dual meet situation. Again, you want a meet that you feel you could win, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know that there's going to be really any great tests here. I don't think Edinburgh has any of their 10 starters ranked anywhere in the top 33 in the Intermat rankings.
No Edinburgh. Wow, that went downhill that fast from Tim.
Yeah, and it's tough. I mean, because of the tradition there, the history there.
They finished in the top 10 within the last dozen years. Right?
Oh yeah, and you figure it's a situation where again you're like. It's not surprising that Edinburgh doesn't have a ton of ranked wrestlers, right? Or that they're not a top 5 team or top 10 or anything like that. But to not have, for any of the Pennsylvania teams, to not have a wrestler anywhere in the top 33, I mean, it virtually assures that you're not going to have any All-Americans, right? I mean, you might not have any qualifiers for the national tournament. It's going to take some upsets in the conference tournament for them to get anybody to the national tournament. But it's tough. And again, it doesn't need to be great numbers, but you want a couple of kids that you can hang your hat on, right? On a fairly consistent basis, you want to have a couple of guys. And you would think, just with the tradition of schools like Clarion and Edinburgh, and with the strength of wrestling here in Pennsylvania and the neighboring states, again, even if you're not getting, even if the top teams, the Iowas and the Penn States and the Ohio States are plucking out the, elite kids, you would think there are enough kids there that are good, will develop when they get to college and want to prove, right? I mean, there's a bunch of people that want to be recruited or selected by Penn State or Ohio State or Iowa or any of those top tier teams. You would think there would be a few of those kids that just like, man, I'll show them and go to, unless, I mean, there's obviously a bunch of other schools out there that these kids can go to and are going to as well.
Case in point, you can go to Edinburgh, wrestle for a year, do really well, and then transfer out.
Yeah, and that's definitely part of the equation now, too, is, yes, those schools are not. It was funny. I saw an ad, and it just caught my attention, and I don't remember now. I think I was scrolling through Facebook, and there's this ad about, it's like, just, we're ranked, but we don't do NIL. Our kids are, truly just college students, and I'm just reading through that at first. I'm not looking at who it is, and I'm like, well, how are you going to compete? Then, like, I mean, I hear what you're saying, and that all sounds wonderful. And the fact you're right, it was Army West Point. And I'm like, oh, you got me, and that's like, and good on you, right? And like, honestly, I mean, Army West Point, naming like. The academies they're not doing the NIL stuff.
They're already paid.
And
you know that.
Yeah.
They earn it, though. They very much earn it.
Yes.
I have to say this.
So that was just an interesting, it was like my initial reaction was going to be like, no, that's fine, but you're going to be irrelevant. And then I'm
What
reading through it,
idiot
I'm
made
like, oh,
this up?
definitely not irrelevant.
So I know a lot of the people who watch this are friends of mine or listen to their friends of mine, and they're football people. Now, the difference of like the wrestling thing, you literally make that commitment, and it is a year-round commitment. You're not going into spring break, going away. You're not. I mean, you literally have to maintain yourself for 12 months a year. Whereas football, you have a couple downtimes, down this and that, and you're trying to put weight on it, and it's a whole different mindset. But it's mental. A lot of wrestling is mental. Like, it's crazy to think about. Like, you can fight through a lot of stuff with football and any sport, football, basketball, baseball, all that stuff. You can get through all that. There's nowhere to hide in wrestling.
Yeah.
You're not into it. You're not ready to go. You're not mentally like jacked and like, okay, I'm going to make this, I'm going to kill this one,
Yeah.
I'm going to dominate today. I'm going to do this. If you don't have that attitude, it ain't going to go well for you.
Well, I keep thinking I'm going to do this, and I don't know that I will, because I don't know that I'm ever going to have time that it would take to dedicate it and really figure it out. But I've read some things that kind of start to go down the line that I want to go down. But once we actually get past all of this COVID stuff, meaning the extra years of eligibility, I would like to go back and in particular take a look at the 6th and 7th year guys and compare their success in those 6th and 7th years versus the first 5, or even if you just want to do the 2, the 4th and 5th, if the, or the 3rd and 4th, if you have a 5th and 6th, because I think you're right. Or wrestling, as much, if not more than any other sport, is both a physical and a mental grind. And at the college level, even more so. I mean, I've talked to enough of the guys that are with the Nittany Lion Wrestling Club now. And I think to a man, I all the ones I've talked to, but I can't imagine there's an exception anywhere to this. They will tell you that the wrestling collegiately was harder than being on the freestyle international circuit. And for a couple of reasons, primarily. One is, once you're in the Nittany Lion Wrestling Club and you're committed to freestyle wrestling, right? It is your profession. So you're building your day around it. You're not having to worry about classes. You're not having, and a lot of these guys are now married. So even the social component, you want to have a social life. I understand that. But I mean, you're not trying to meet your future wife. You're not trying to work your way through. Yeah. To a large degree. There are exceptions there. I understand that. I'm not saying that's across the board. But the other, and you pick and choose the tournaments. It's like Tiger Woods was, when he was at the top of his game, part of it was he could lay out his schedule. I mean, other guys have tried and not been successful. So, but like, he would lay out his schedule with the idea, I want to peak for the majors. Mm-hmm. And these guys obviously are laying out their schedule with the idea, I want to peak for the world championships and for the Olympic games and all of that. And yes, in college wrestling, you're trying to peak for Big Tens and nationals, but a lot of these guys are also then trying to peak for the freestyle portion of the collegiate off season. And again, you have the grind of classes, and that college wrestling grind is just different. There isn't a break there from, not a significant break. Mm-hmm. Freestyle, you can take a couple of months off. You can take 6 months off, 8 months off, and just train and work on specific things, then get back into it. Once that college wrestling season starts, right, it is just, I'm overusing the term, but I can't think of another synonym for it. But I mean, it is just a grind. It is week in, week out. You're maintaining your weight. Freestyle is, I think, easier on the body than folk style, which is what collegiate wrestling is folk style. Because in folk style, your body can be twisted every which way. I mean, I guess to a certain extent you can't be in freestyle, but I just think because of the way the top bottom wrestling works in collegiate wrestling, I think it is, again, just more of a grind. It's 7 minutes of wrestling each match instead of the 6 in freestyle. Everything about it. It's just, and I think when you get to that 5th year, even, it's like, okay, I am like, even the most passionate, ardent, and I've talked to David Taylor about this, and he's like, yeah, that last year, like, it was tough. Like, he physically was, the sport had taken a toll on him, and he needed, after that, and obviously he reworked his body and everything else, but he took a couple of years to do that and rework everything. And
I have a feeling on that.
Yeah, it's just, it's hard. And so go ahead.
18 to 22, you don't know your body yet. That is, I think, would be the issue.
I think that's
David Taylor
part
turns
of it.
22. I remember me and Marco, our fifth year, we were just so sick of being told to be where, what time, how to do this, how to do that. We just wanted to be on our own a little bit. You know what I mean? Whereas you had to go to school, you had to go to dinner, you had to go to breakfast, you had to go to practice, you had to do adult. When it's on you, you make your schedule because you know how your body reacts. Like David knows what his body reacts well to. He's not being on a regimen of a whole team. Now, I'm no way in shape or form comparing football or wrestling at all, but I could see that. But I didn't know how my body worked when I was 18 to 20.
Yeah,
I had no idea. I was still growing. I was getting heavier. I stopped getting taller, but I was filling out is what I was doing. And you had to learn how to play the game like that. And once you do that, like when you go to the NFL and you don't have spring practice, you don't have these brutal football camps going into the season. You have 17, 20, 25 weeks a year where you're playing football 1 day a week. We're wrestling. It's a grind, man. Now, like you said, but everything is a grind. But I think wrestling more than anything, because it is. I mean, I couldn't imagine having to worry about weight type of. I mean, we did, but if like you can get 5 or 6 pounds here or there, when you're 330, right. What is it really? It's a peanut off the Titanic type of thing, So, I know what he's talking about, and I do remember my 5th year of football being like, I'm just done with being here. I'm just done with being told everything and where and when, and that just gets to be old. And it is nice. I was not a morning guy. I did not like mornings. I'm still not a morning person. So I would rather work out in the afternoons, whereas Marco and Jeff were big early morning guys and get it in, get it over with. I didn't care. Like maybe David likes to work out in the afternoons, but in college, maybe they worked out in the mornings. I don't know. It's just like, but he can make the schedule as you get older and out of the team concept and stuff like that. So, did I see he's on a TV show next week?
I think it was this week.
Or something like that?
I think it was this week.
How do you do? Do you know?
So I don't know exactly what all. No, is the short answer.
No.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm not exactly sure what all it was that they were doing on it.
And what the hell is this talent?
So
grabbing somebody, beating the tar out of them, and putting them on their back against their will.
Yeah, winning wrestling gold. That's not bad.
That's pretty good talent enough. You got it. You got the talent, Dave. Trust me.
Yeah,
you're good.
We'll take a
figure that one out.
Take a time out here. We will be back with more of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. We are at Quaker Steak and Lube, our favorite place to be on Tuesday and Thursday afternoons. We have our little show here from 3 to 5, and again, great place to be here at Quaker Steak and Lube. We have all of the sports on the TVs here. Great food. I'm enjoying a chicken tenders basket as we work our way through the program today. They have the all-you-can-eat wing buffet on Tuesdays. Great drink specials, happy hours, and it really has become just one of those neighborhood gathering places, right? Like every time you come in here, it just has that community feel to it. And, a lot of the employees have been here a while. A lot of the customers, you get to know each other. Just coming here after work or getting together, and it really does. It just has that family kind of feel to it. The old neighborhood bar.
The neighborhood bar is
Yep.
exactly what I was going to say.
Yep.
That's how I feel about this place, and it's always been
I'm
like
with
that. You know, you have friends there. Like we have one of our friends is sick right now, Rich Whitmer. You know, he's a big fan of the show.
God bless him.
A lot of these people here, everybody's asking how Rich is doing. So it is like a type of, it's a family. This is as close you get into a neighborhood bar that like I would know from home. Type of thing.
Yeah, it's just a fun place, and again, great food, great service, obviously great beverages, and with all of the TVs, it really is a lot of fun to come down here and watch sports events, whether it's basketball, hockey, as we make the turn toward baseball season, all of those things.
We're getting close to the multiple sports on multiple televisions soon.
The way it's supposed to be.
March, oh, look what's on the Big Ten Network, buddy.
Yes, indeed.
Look at
that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It did look cool.
It did. It was great.
The court itself it was fun.
I'm not going to lie.
By the way, if you're listening at home, it's the Illinois Penn State game from last night.
I wore black sweatpants and a black shirt. I didn't know.
Oh, boy.
I guess I knew, but
oh, boy.
The way I say it, Jeff,
Come on,
is nobody tells Goon how to dress.
Wear white, man.
No, I'm not a sheep.
Come on, dude.
Nope.
Boo to you.
No.
Boo.
Nope. The Goon is not a sheep. He will not be told what to wear.
Very disappointing. You are listening to WFXS, Pleasant Gap State College. It is the Goon and Ironhead show, and we are coming right back.
Coast into fall with a new Kia from Lion Country Kia. Right now, get a 24 Kia Seltos for 5.25% APR for up to 48 months. A new Sportage plug-in hybrid at 0.9% APR. Check out our 23 Sorrento hybrid for as low as 4.5% APR. And don't forget, all 2023 and 2024 Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Stop in and meet with one of our sales experts today and coast into fall at Lion Country Kia. We want to see you in a Kia.
Since retiring, I have spent my time searching the countryside for the hottest wings in America. I always seem to end up disappointed. You call these hot? Back off, Luigi.
Mamma mia.
Look hands it, busboy. Your wings suck! I knew I should have stuck with Quaker Steak's triple atomic wings. You think I'm tough enough?
The Center Hall Farm Store has been serving Center County and beyond for well over a half century. A small family business, the Center Hall Farm Store specializes in animal nutrition and manufactures its feed fresh using local ingredients. Get the best in horse, cow, pig, chicken, and bird feeds. If you're not already a customer, stop in and see why so many of your neighbors are. The Center Hall Farm Store at 110 West Allison Street in Center Hall, or call us at 814-364-1393.
Sioka Toyota of Williamsport invites you to stop in today or check us out online. We have the smart path to your next Toyota, like the all-new Crown, BZ4X, the all-new Grand Highlander, Corolla Cross Hybrids, Sequoias, and more. Over 100 new Toyotas here and on the way. Don't make a $1,000 mistake. Choose Sioka Toyota of Williamsport and see the Sioka dealership's difference. Buy or reserve yours today and see for yourself why Sioka Toyota is the only stop you need for your next new car. Sioka Toyota, it just feels right.
Ready to be part of something bigger? Come pave the road to success at Glen Baker and discover a career where your hard work and determination can build a bigger, better future. Our team believes we can build a stronger future together. Join us at Glen Baker, where we value teamwork on the field and on the job. Go to GOHcareers.com to apply. GOHcareers.com. And best of luck to all the Center County sports teams all season long from everyone at Glen Baker.
With a Timber Kids savings account, you can start to save money, earn prizes, and teach your kids the value of savings. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. Building futures is what we do at TFCU.
You really need to belong to a credit union. You belong at TFCU, Timberland Federal Credit Union, a credit union you can grow with.
The Goon and Ironhead.
We'll welcome you back into the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show here at Quaker Steak and Lube on a Thursday. a dreary Thursday. We're calling it here in the Valley of Happiness.
Cold and rainy.
It is a happy valley after the Nittany Lion basketball team's big win last night. Again, Lady Lions will take their crack at Rec Hall Magic tonight. They're testing it even a little more than the men are.
Yeah.
Men were riding a 3-game losing skid into a matchup with the 12th ranked team. Lady Lions 5-game losing skid and the 2nd ranked team in the nation. 6 o'clock tip tonight, and hoping Carolyn Keeger's squad can pull off a big W tonight. Would certainly get that program back on the right track in a big way. See if they can get a little something going here tonight at Rec Hall.
What is your feel? Do you think a smaller venue for our basketball team would be the right? I do.
I do.
I truly do. I love Bryce Jordan Center, but the basketball environment is not set up for a good. That's not a real home field advantage in my opinion.
So I think if you took finances out of it, which you can't, and I understand that, but I think if hey, what's the ideal situation here? Keep the Jordan Center available for special events, including some sports events. I mean, throw a basketball game there from time to time, a wrestling match once a year, all of that stuff.
State basketball playoffs.
But I think the ideal scenario would be to create about I would say anywhere between a 9,000 and 11,000 seat venue that would be more like I would model it a little bit after Assembly Hall in Bloomington in terms of, hey, straight up,
Yep.
kind of on top of
top of the players.
Yep, closer to the court. And now, maybe you need 2 of these venues. Maybe one, the basketball one would be like holding 11, 12, and then a wrestling one that would hold like 9 or 10. But similar concepts where I think you again, talking about the dream scenario here for fans and for athletes, you'd have the chair backs on the seats in there. So it'd be a big facility, but you would, again, create the intimate atmosphere and much better amenities. Right. Then, I mean, similar amenities, I guess, to the Jordan Center when it comes to concessions, restrooms, that sort of thing. That's where Rec Hall falls short. And it's just, I mean,
comical.
It's the building. Yeah. The food in particular. And listen, I don't know what all is involved. I'm taking the economic factor out of it, which you can't do, and I understand that. But you need kitchens there at Rec Hall. And again, I don't know what all's involved there for codes and finances and everything else, but improving the concessions would be, if they just improved the concessions and the restrooms. At Rec Hall, those 2 improvements alone would go a long way. And then I think, again, creating more comfortable seating for more people, creating a little more, and maybe having some amenities for the big money folks, and creating Suites, luxury boxes that would certainly make some sense.
Do you think a new building, or do you think renovate and wreck?
Well, so if I was in charge, I mean, I would think, and again, I don't know, but I would think renovating Rec Hall would be cheaper. The biggest question or concern I would have with Rec, and listen, I was raised in this area. Rec Hall has a ton of great memories.
I was going to ask you,
both watching sports events. Yeah, I honestly don't remember when my first time. I mean, I'm guessing it would have been like 72, 73.
Jesus.
And they're off to ask. I don't know if my parents would even know for sure when first one. But I mean, we went from the time I was very young. I mean, I remember from like 6 or 7 years old, like going up and running around and playing racquetball and basketball and stuff on the weekends. And like we just had a great time up there. And then obviously watched, I watched wrestling there probably from the time I was 4 or 5 anyway. And basketball probably around the same time, gymnastics. I still remember going up and watching USC play men's volleyball and the electricity in the building for that when I was a kid.
Steve Timmons.
Yeah, I mean, and listen, they had they had some big time gymnastics events up there. They had some big time concerts up there. I saw Bob Hope perform in Rec Hall. I mean, there's a lot of
Hope?
Oh yeah, there was a lot of really special things that occurred at Rec Hall. Great pep rallies for the football team. I still have some,
pre or post
some great memories.
Pre-game pep rally.
Yeah, this is like Friday nights before the big games back in the probably even the 70s. I know for sure in the 80s Rec Hall would be packed, and Joe Paterno would come out, and the Nittany Lion would have some sort of theatrics and do something with the opponent, and just great fun, great memories of Rec Hall.
It was at the IM building, though, I think. But it could have been a bowl game too. I don't know. I don't remember that type of thing in the 90s. I know I know
when they came back from the Rose Bowl, you guys had it at Rec Hall. That was afterward because
not the Rose Bowl.
Fran Fisher was
was
up there.
Illinois game.
He kept pronouncing Rose Bowl. I think Fran may have had a cocktail.
Well, that's when we clinched the
two.
Rose Bowl, because the Rose Bowl we would have flown. We didn't fly back as a team. But I know what you're talking about because I remember, because we came out from Illinois. We clinched the Big Ten and the Rose Bowl berth, that Illinois game. And I remember going there that night because I remember Michigan in '94. They had
I'm sorry, not after the Rose Bowl. If that's I didn't mean to imply that.
The '94 we beat Michigan, and that was that third year in a row of going 5-0, and then we finally hit over that hump and went 6-0, and we got back, and there was a rally at I'm telling you, it was the parking lots where the media parks for the football games. Like there used to be like a football field out there, where the soccer field is and all that stuff there now, but it was grass then. And I remember that they tried to get in. This was the story, is that they tried to get into the stadium to steal they wanted to rip down the goalposts there, but they didn't get in. The cops stopped them, so they went to the practice fields. And they tore down some goalposts, or maybe even the IM fields, and stole some goalposts and ran them down the streets. I remember coming back, But my first time in Rec Hall was the 1984 Pennsylvania Keystone State games. My brother was playing hoops, and he was on the Philadelphia team, and it was freaking loaded, man. Like 4 or 5 NBA guys on that team with him. I remember because my older brother was here, and I remember that's where they had the opening ceremonies were in there. That's where we all met that day. But that was my first time in Rec Hall. And then obviously coming to school here and doing all that stuff and having classes. I'm just trying to think, is the court from the Bryce Jordan Center, or did they just bring a whole brand new court in? Do you know?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It was beautiful. Like, I love how the plainness of it. That's what I'm just a plain guy, obviously. I loved how that was set up there last night.
Yeah,
it was really cool.
It looked really good on TV. It was neat to watch. Had a fun feel to it. Let's turn to Penn State football a bit, Goon. Landon Tangwall and I spent a good bit of the show, I think a little more than either of us intended, but talking about the college football playoff situation and, what that's looking like in the upcoming season and what it might look like moving forward. I don't think it'll be long until we have expansion in terms of the number of teams in the playoffs. My question is still, what is college football going to look like? How much does this, break off of what we have now? Do we go to one or two just super conferences? And like, it feels like that is eventually what is going to happen. And I think eventually being sooner rather than later, probably within the next 3 years, the Big Ten and the SEC in essence will take over college football. I could argue that's what's already happened. But I think then what is going to happen is you're going to get back to regional play. So it's going to be the Big Ten Northeast or whatever the super conference is.
What was he saying as a player? What are they thinking?
Well, so we were talking more about the the 4 or the 5+7 concept, and having the 4 highest ranked conference champions, and allowing the 5th in there, and then
It's an honest question. Who's the 5th? Sure, someone to Pac-12.
Well, it'll be the highest ranked of the. I mean, in theory, it could be any of the. In theory, it could be the Mid-American Conference, the Conference USA, Mountain West, and like if all of those conferences have teams ranked higher than the Big Ten and the SEC and the ACC, like all of those conferences, in theory, could have, but it's the top 5 highest ranked conference champions. So what most of us are presuming is it'll be the Big Ten, the SEC champions, the ACC and the Big 12 champions, and then you'll get a conference champion from either Conference USA, Mountain West, one of the other conferences.
And then, see, this is where I'm at now. And I've been doing a lot of reading because couldn't have talked the other day, but the Notre Dame Florida State thing, it seems to be a real possibility here. So Florida State was given the option of $240 million, and they can get out of that ACC contract.
Yep.
That's a lot of money. A lot of money. Now, somebody online said, well, if Notre Dame leaves that ACC package and this and that, then the TV money goes down significantly, so the buyout for Florida State won't be as much. And I was like, man, there's a lot smarter people in this world than I am, man. So those two teams, there's a real possibility of those guys coming in. So that's where I saw
to the Big Ten, you're saying.
Yeah, you should the Power 4 conferences, and there's a 5th one. And then in that scenario, did you and Lyman talk about Notre Dame scenario? That they were not a part of that. They had to, in essence, win for Notre Dame to win a national title. They're going to have to win 4 playoff games. They couldn't go and have a bye. They'd have to go in the all 4 to win the national, and that's a lot. Would that make you want to join a conference? You know what I mean?
Make me, yes.
Yeah. And then, and I was just like, the Florida State thing, they have buying out there, and I did hear Notre Dame, which just makes too much sense. It just makes too much sense for the Olympic sports. Like, why travel down to the ACC and up and down there? You know, Florida State they are an SEC type of school, in my opinion, your opinion also.
Agreed, yeah.
But what does the SEC get by getting Florida State? Nothing. They already own North Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the key, I think, that what the SEC wants, they want Miami. They want that bottom. They want that southern Florida type of, because that's not really SEC country as of yet.
Yes. Yeah.
I love reading about this stuff and all of it, where it's going and what's going to happen, all the different scenarios that could be a possibility.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of scenarios.
I have an honest question for you, Jeff, and this is Goon speaking truth. Truth.
All right.
Spitting truth. I'd rather be ranked 5 through 8 than 1 next year. Because I want that home game in December 20, and I want to play a Southern or a Western school.
Well, and so a couple of things about that. It is part of why I think sooner rather than later, again, I'll say within 5 years on this, they'll expand to 16 teams.
Well, we're at 16. There's 4, right? Or no,
there's 12 right now.
You're right.
So, the one catch to this, well, not the one, one of many catches. So what I think is going to happen is you're going to have another tier added to college football and or college athletics, but college football for sure. So
you have football.
I think you're going to have,
right?
Okay. So I think you're going to have, I don't know what the terminology is going to be, but I think you're going to have tier 1 is going to be your Alabamas, your Ohio States, your USCs.
Is the FCS right now, the Football Championship
Series,
but it's going to be
I don't even
think
smaller. I don't even think it's all of the current power conference FBS schools. So I keep throwing out the number 40, but I think somewhere between 40 and 60 teams will stick with what I'm going to call tier 1 college football, which I think the Big Ten and the SEC, as they are trying to navigate these waters and try to figure out what the how the overall structure is going to look in terms of the revenue sharing and divvying up the bowl monies and the TV contracts and all of that. Again, I think a lot of these schools across the country are looking at this and saying, this is not what we want for our college athletics programs. I think even I don't think Penn State's thrilled about it, but I think Penn State is like, we have too much invested to not be part of this, right? And I think there's some other schools. Yeah, and I think there's some other schools in the same boat. Like, yeah, this isn't ideal, but we want, if this is what we got to do to be big time, we want to be big time. And I think, again, my guess is 40 to 60 schools want to be, they're okay with it. We'll figure out the sharing of the revenue. We'll, to a large degree, do away with amateurism and all of that. And I think they're okay with it.
It's already gone.
Yeah. And I think there's another tier of schools that are like, and listen, and all of those schools are like, hey, we will figure it out in terms of, getting our players deals. Like, I think the NIL stuff goes away, and I think that'll be a blessing for everybody involved. Because if you have the revenue sharing, then the just like professional sports, you don't need a pool of money. That pool of money, a separate pool of money. That pool of money is from the athletic department, which is what it should be to begin with. Like the NIL stuff, really, I understand kind of how it evolved, but that truthfully has never really made any sense to me.
It's pay for play right now, which is what makes no sense.
Right. But it's not. It's even worse than that, because it's pay for play without any oversight, at least legitimate oversight, from the athletic departments or the schools. Well, that's even dumber. And that's as enforced by the NCAA as we're seeing in Tennessee. Well, that's just like beyond idiotic to me.
Yep.
But I do think there's another tier of schools that are like, listen, we like
just football.
Yes, we like our big time football, but this is too much. We don't want this. We want
Indiana and Illinois, a Rutgers, a Maryland.
Yep.
These are teams. Northwestern.
Are
Vanderbilt
they all
in?
I think they're not.
That's where I'm at. Yeah, that's why I said you have to have a difference between football and basketball.
Well, yeah. So that's going to be another component of this, is figuring out how to navigate that, and then another component to it is, what do you do with the non-revenue, the Olympic sports, and how do you set that up? And it seems like we're heading down the path of I think it'll be the schools that will set up basically 501c. There'll be nonprofits that the football programs and or the basketball programs will contribute to. They'll get some tax. I don't know enough about how all that stuff works, but there will be some advantage for them doing that and allowing money. Now, whether it's as much money as currently is heading to those sports, I don't know. And what we talked a good bit on Tuesday is like the current Big Ten schools, like a Penn State or an Ohio State with 31 or 32, 33 varsity programs. Like, you're dividing that money up among those schools with that many programs. that's different than the SEC divvying up among fewer teams. What I think 14 now are they at, or whatever they're at.
Yeah.
So fewer teams, and then many fewer sports. So their athletes, and again, all of that stuff is what's got to be figured out. Is it
Correct.
going to be, listen, football players make this much, non-revenue sports get this much as a stipend or a salary, whatever you want to term it, but or is, do you have different quarterbacks get this much, linemen get this much, wrestlers at Penn State get this much, wrestlers at Indiana get this much. There's a lot there that has to be unpacked and figured out, and I don't know how all of that is going to get sorted out. Nobody.
I just had a thought in my head just watching this television game right here, watching the Big Ten channel from last night, the Big Ten Network. So Penn State and the heavyweights of the Big Ten football program leave. So there's 20 of us right now, right? Or 18?
18.
So you figure 12, 13, 14 want to continue on doing this football conference type of thing.
Yeah.
That's owned by ESPN, ABC, Fox, and Warner Brothers and all that stuff, right? So then you could have your lesser sports, your Olympic sports, and your other teams' games on the Big Ten Network, and all of our games would not be on that network, and they could actually share that Big Ten money. Just in my head, I'm just thinking that that would be their showpiece, and they would have their TV deals, your Indiana, your Northwestern, your Purdue's, if they don't want to go along. It's just – can you imagine trying to figure this out right now? It's like,
no, because there's
pitfalls everywhere.
Well, and that's the thing. So the Big Ten and the SEC are obviously the driving forces right now.
They should be.
And but they need, and this was my point on Tuesday, is you need competition. Now, whether or not, I don't know that you need necessarily all the competition that's there now, but you need to have schools to compete against, right? Like to create a meaningful championship scenario. And so how do you go about and this is what they're trying to figure out, and this is what will be figured out one way or another here in the coming months. But how do you go about sharing the revenue? And then I think the NIL goes away, which I think will be a good thing for everybody. And then the athletes on their own or with their agents can negotiate deals with businesses or whomever and get additional endorsement opportunities.
So you're saying the NIL is not going to be coming from a university source type, like the Happy Valley United is our.
Well, it won't be needed because of the revenue share. I mean that money, and honestly, the way it's set up now, to me, is just it's not a tenable situation long term. I'm not sure it's tenable short term, but I don't think it's something that can work long term. There's too many vagaries with it. There's too many ongoing variables in terms of both for the student athlete and for the NILs and for the universities. Like again, to me, that just needs to be, and with revenue sharing, it can and should go away, because right now it's part of what the NIL is at least trying to do. I think at most schools, certainly at Penn State, part of what they're trying to do is, yes, we want you to get money, but we want you to earn it, and we want you to earn it by being good members of the community, good members of standing in the community, doing things. And again, it doesn't have to be great, unbelievably noble work, but showing up, signing some autographs for kids, helping at an event here or there, and then yes, you've earned your payday. Well, I think easily you can write into the contracts, which I realize to a large degree, national letters of intent have always been contracts, but I mean, they're actually going to be just contracts now. Employer, university, athletic department, and employee, student athlete signing on. And it will spell out in there that, hey, in order to earn whatever salary you're getting, part of what you need to do is, yes, show up to the team meetings on time, be of good academic standing, whatever the parameters are. Yeah. And again, whether those parameters are the same at every school, like that's another part that's got to get worked out, or whether each school, obviously there will be some flexibility within each school, but I mean, do you want the general framework in terms of the payments and all of that to be the same, or are you okay? Nope, each school's on their own, which if you do that, again, we're going to have an ongoing set of issues that are just going to continue to haunt.
USC, UCLA versus State College, Pennsylvania, LA. I mean, the cost of living is a little bit different here.
Well, so cost of living, yes, and even the
taxes,
yes. And even the opportunities, right, that are available above and beyond. I mean, again, we're talking about the base salary here and the way that the revenue sharing will occur. But obviously, there's going to be different opportunities in different places above and beyond that, and that's just part of the nature of life.
I got a whole other wrinkle for you, buddy.
Yep, go ahead.
Today, I was talking about it today with some friends of mine. And that is okay, that December 21st, there's 16 teams that are still eligible, still playing, right? According to this new 16 or 12 team scenario. Where are the rest of the 48 other teams? Are they just filling in the regular bowl games? And then I'm sitting there saying, okay, well, who's going to go to those bowl games? Not like people are going to the bowl games right now. There's going to be an attendance issue, which is obviously an issue already. But then, like, there's really no worth to those bowl games. Are the TV channels even going to pick them up? And then how are those kids getting paid type of thing?
Yeah, and if not, is would you be able to get enough from streaming services to make that worthwhile? Where it, even if it's just parents and there's a lot of
Just say we play Ole Miss December 21st, Ole Miss in Beaver Stadium. Is that our bowl game? Because if we're done, we're not going away to a bowl game. That's like sort of always been a reward for players.
Yeah.
So then you're really just giving these kids flat out sums of money. Like if you make the playoff, we're going to give you $50K
or whatever. Yep.
By the way, you talk about wrestling and all that stuff. I thought about that out loud and like, I wonder if you could give incentives. Like you win a natty, $15,000. All Americans, $10,000. All Big Ten titles, $5,000. It's a lot of different stuff you could do.
Well, and I'm telling you,
Jeff, congratulations.
Another difficult component of all of this is, like it or not, the betting culture now in this country is overwhelming.
Everybody.
And the enforcement, and listen, I think all of the leagues out there and all of the conferences in college sports, but I think throughout sports, right, the one thing I think every commissioner and everybody involved in any way in a leadership role with any of these sports, like the biggest thing I think maybe the second biggest thing, you're wanting to make sure there's revenue and everybody's getting paid and there's money to go around.
Revenue,
but a very close second, I think, is the integrity of the game that you are watching. When you're told, hey, you're watching a competitive event, that it is in fact two teams out there trying to win, two coaching staffs trying to outdo the other, and that it's not hey, we got some money for you here. You just need to step aside and let me make a leg, right? Like you're counting on that as leagues and as, but with the money that's involved now, and I mean, listen, we've seen it over decades. There have been betting scandals throughout sports.
That's just when it was illegal.
Way before the culture has completely enveloped society. So now, in addition to all of this, like you are going to have people that are watching and involved like hawks, trying to make sure that the integrity of the game, meaning that when you watch a competitive sporting event, it is a competitive sporting event. Everybody's out there trying to win. That's going to be a big deal for, again, intercollegiate athletics and for all of these sports teams. Already is, but from the intercollegiate sports perspective, now that's going to be, again, to me, an even greater concern in terms of, hey, we have got to keep an eye on this.
Like, you had these betting scandals back in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, even 90s, and in Northwestern Maryland, they guys got caught when I was playing.
Yeah.
That's just when it was illegal.
I hear you.
I don't know if I've talked to you about this on the air or not. Like, if you go downtown, you and I, when we were in college, you go downtown, hey, Miller Lite reps here. They're giving out cans of Miller Lite over there. They're going to give you here's a token, go get a Miller Lite, drink Miller Lite. Now it's DraftKings, Fantasy Worlds, Fanatics, Sports Bet, this and that, whatever the Barstool Sports is. They have representatives at these bars saying, here's a $50 gift certificate. Put this in. It's $50 free gameplay. You bet a game, you win 50, or you lose, it's free.
Yeah.
That's how they've gotten all these kids. They've got them all.
No question.
It's insane that everybody you talk to, young or old, anywhere, it involves gambling now. It's just crazy to even remotely even think about this, that it was 12 years ago. I remember sitting down in Philadelphia at my buddy Kevin's house, and Fox Sports was just coming on the air, like coming in to be that competitor for ESPN.
Yeah.
And they had the point spreads on the ticker.
Yeah.
And I remember looking at that and saying, holy crap, where did that? I mean, we all gamble. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I gamble. You gamble. I don't know if you do or not, but
I don't. Only because you see my track record.
Yeah.
If I had any faith that I could pick the right team, I'd do it.
You're 100% picking the wrong team, but I guarantee you, if you put $100 on the opposite of what you say, you'll be 100% right all the time.
Exactly.
So I remember sitting there and I'm saying, oh my God, the genie is out of the bottle right now, because they were sitting there, and I'm not lying to you. I know it for a fact. Mike Pereira, the NFL referee. Remember him? The guy who does the Fox thing. He's always dressed up. Who I always think there should be referees talking about the game, in my opinion. He's the one I always talk about because I can't stand. He was sitting there and talking about Florida State -7, this and that. I don't know if they have this, and I don't think they can cover that 7 point. And I'm like, what am I watching here? This is a NFL referee talking about point spreads. This is before there was gambling involved, and this is Fox Sports. They started that type of thing.
Yeah.
And I remember it was 10, 12. I mean, I think Joe was still around here at that point. Or maybe not. Maybe like 12 or 13, I think, now that I'm not thinking about it out loud. But I remember sitting there, and I remember we were talking about that. And I was like, wow, I can't believe I'm watching this right now. Because, again, I mean, I'm on my phone looking up sport lines and betting lines and this and that. And then somebody's like, look, they're right there. Florida State -7 versus, Florida. And I was like, whoa, I could not believe that was within the last 10, 12 years. And now it is everywhere. It's all anybody talks about.
Well,
and you can't watch a sport without it being talked about.
Listen, I know things can change rapidly, and obviously we see examples of it all the time. If you had told me, I kind of broke into the radio business in the late 80s. If you had told me in 88 or 89 that in my lifetime, let alone in the next, whatever it's been, 30 years, a little over 30 years. If you had told me in my lifetime that we would have any of that student athletes, college student athletes would get money while in school. Now, I probably would have believed that there would be trust funds set up, because there had been talk even at that time.
And there should have been.
Yes, that should have been done.
I'm waiting for my reparations.
Ages ago, yes. If you had told me that marijuana would be legalized anywhere in this country, I'm telling you, I mean, the sentiment was so strongly against from a political standpoint. I'm not saying from the citizenry, but like the number of changes that we've seen both in athletics and just societally that just would have blown you away. Like if you could go back, I would have told no chance. That's not happening. That's not happening. No way that happens. Now, playoffs, I would have told you in 88, 89, yeah, we'll have playoffs by the year 2000. Like this just makes too much sense. No reason for it not to. That one, I truly don't understand how or why that took so long. Because usually you follow the money. Money that was available there back in the 80s, probably before that even. But
the only thing I can think of is tax breaks for the bowl people.
Well, I think the bowl. So I do think there was.
It's the only thing I can think of.
I think ridiculously concern that somehow the playoffs would hurt the bowls. Now, obviously, they've incorporated the bowls and the bowl sites, and very crafty of Penn State to play in the Peach Bowl this year to be prepared for the national championship game at Mercedes-Benz Stadium next year. Like that's just that's good forethought by Penn State and James Franklin. They're well prepared for the
no stone unturned
championship game site in the upcoming season. But I mean, really, it is amazing when you look at the significant changes, both in sports and collegiate sports and in society, that again, in the late 80s, I would have told you no chance in my lifetime that any of this stuff will occur. And here we are, and it continues to change at a pretty rapid rate. We'll take a break here. Be back to wrap things up for our Thursday edition. It is the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. We are at Quaker Steak and Lube.
Coast into fall with a new Kia from Lion Country Kia. Right now, get a 24 Kia Seltos for 5.25% APR for up to 48 months. A new Sportage plug-in hybrid at 0.9% APR. Check out our 23 Sorento hybrid for as low as 4.5% APR. And don't forget, all 2023 and 2024 Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Stop in and meet with one of our sales experts today and coast into fall at Lion Country Kia. We want to see you in a Kia.
Since retiring, I have spent my time searching the countryside for the hottest wings in America. I always seem to end up disappointed. You call these hot? Back off, Luigi.
Mamma mia.
Your hands it, busboy. Your wings suck! I knew I should have stuck with Quaker Steak's triple atomic wings. You think I'm tough enough?
The Center Hall Farm Store has been serving Center County and beyond for well over a half century. A small family business, the Center Hall Farm Store specializes in animal nutrition and manufactures its feed fresh using local ingredients. Get the best in horse, cow, pig, chicken, and bird feeds. If you're not already a customer, stop in and see why so many of your neighbors are. The Center Hall Farm Store at 110 West Allison Street in Center Hall, or call us at 814-364-1393.
Sioka Toyota of Williamsport invites you to stop in today or check us out online. We have the smart path to your next Toyota, like the all-new Crown, BZ4X, the all-new Grand Highlander, Corolla Cross Hybrids, Sequoias, and more. Over 100 new Toyotas here and on the way. Don't make a $1,000 mistake. Choose Sioka Toyota of Williamsport and see the Sioka dealership's difference. Buy or reserve yours today and see for yourself why Sioka Toyota is the only stop you need for your next new car. Sioka Toyota, it just feels right.
Ready to be part of something bigger? Come pave the road to success at Glen O'Habaker and discover a career where your hard work and determination can build a bigger, better future. Our team believes we can build a stronger future together. Join us at Glen O'Habaker, where we value teamwork on the field and on the job. Go to GOHcareers.com to apply. GOHcareers.com. And best of luck to all the Center County sports teams all season long from everyone at Glen O'Habaker.
With a Timber Kids savings account, you can start to save money, earn prizes, and teach your kids the value of savings. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. Building futures is what we do at TFCU.
You really need to belong to a credit union. You belong at TFCU, Timberland Federal Credit Union, a credit union you can grow with.
The Goon and Ironhead.
We are into the home stretch of the Lion Country Kia, Goon and Ironhead show here on a Thursday. Oh, Goon.
We
Penn
forgot about
State's down by 7. 7 minutes
Just turn it off, Jeff.
left.
Turn it off.
They gave
Jeff.
it an effort. It was fun at Rec Hall.
Rec Hall
anyway.
had a great lure to it, but it just didn't happen.
What an
So off the air,
first.
me and Jeff actually came up with another one of the things that we would not believe happened in the last 15 years.
Yeah, that is a fact.
That is the transfer portal.
Yeah.
Well, how about coaches having agents and making $9-10 million a year too?
Well, yeah. Although, that's another factor in all of this. And listen, it happens in pro sports all the time where the players are making more than the coaches. But for as high paid as these coaches are, at some of these schools, there are going to be student athletes who are going to, between whatever they settle on here is the payments from the, revenue sharing.
Do you have any idea what that would be?
I
percent of a sale.
Well,
versus
that's what I don't, and that's what
That'd be
I'm
interesting.
saying. There's so many different parts to that because, as we said, the Big Ten and the SEC are driving everything. But right now, at least, you need the other conferences and some other schools to be able to play. But so do you, from a like with the TV contracts, and the other tricky part here is like all of these conferences right now have worked their own TV deals. So they all have different contracts. And obviously the Big Ten and the SEC have the sweetheart deals.
True.
Everybody else has
Well
something. And some of them it's a pretty pittance of something. So when we get to the revenue sharing and we're trying to get to a point where the student athletes are sharing in this, do you set it up like the NFL where it's like, yep, everybody gets an equal part? Well, that just doesn't make any sense, right? If I'm the SEC or the Big Ten, like I'm not sitting here saying, yep, let's split evenly with all of the MAC schools the money that we have collectively earned because we're the driving force.
What if there's 60 schools though? That might not be the max.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. There's so many things here that they have to figure out. That's why I think we end up with fewer tier one. I'm for lack of a better
scenario
term.
for you.
Yeah.
So what if Penn State is, in my scenario last week, you have 15 or 12 games. You got your 8 that you play in your conference. You got to play 4 like from the Southern Conference or 4 from the West or Midwest, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever we get to. Now, what if Penn State plays Alabama? They're in the 8 p.m. game on ABC. Are you going to get more for that because there's more viewers? And then I'm going to say, are you the starting quarterback? Do you get as much money as the center or the backup third team snapper or holder? And are they just going to do it by scholarship players? Are they going to do by who dresses that game? Are they going to? It's like you only have like NFL. You only have 53 guys dressed for game 5. So in NFL, there's 48 guys on the sideline in uniform, 49 with the third team quarterback. So that's 49 guys. So you're sharing that revenue, but you have your you have the inactive list, then you have the IR.
Well, and do you want? And like so, there's no question. Like Michigan or Penn State or Ohio State, they bring more eyeballs to the set than almost
Big Ten does
anybody
that more
else.
Than the SEC anyway.
Do you want that separation though to continue to grow? And is that inevitable? Is the answer to that? Well, yeah, because that's just the way it's going to be anyway. It's the way it has been, arguably since at least from the 70s on.
That's why the Big Ten and the SEC are going to make the rules because it's like they're bringing everything. They're bringing all the ingredients for the pie.
Yes, and so again, there's just so many questions that need answered. And again, they'll get there. They're going to have to get there. But as always, the devil is in the details, and there are a lot of details here that need to be worked out. And I genuinely don't know what the answer is, because part of it is like, if your goal is fairness, well, what does that mean? Because is it fair that, again, a Penn State or an Ohio State or Alabama brings X amount of eyeballs to the set. What's fair about them then having to share with a program that brings, like an Indiana-Illinois game? Compared to ratings-wise, I'm talking about, compared to a Penn State-Michigan game, like even if Indiana and Illinois are having great seasons and Michigan and Penn State are having subpar seasons, from a revenue standpoint, they're drawing more fans to their stadiums, wherever it is, and they're drawing more eyeballs to the TV set, regardless. So even when you get into those, and they're nebulous terms anyway, but when you get into the what is fairness, there will be people saying, well, it's fair if all of the money is spread equally among all of the teams. That's fair. Well, is it? If this team is bringing in, again, many more fans, many more eyeballs to the set, is bringing in more advertisers for the TV stations, is more consistently bringing in championships and players that you want to watch. And I don't know. I don't know that there's a right or a wrong answer, because, again, if you're saying, well, no, those teams need to be rewarded for doing that, well, then you are saying that we are going to have the same 10 to 12 teams. And listen, the counter to that is, well, yeah, that's welcome to college football the way it's been for the last 50 plus years. You can list 20 teams, and over any 10-year period in there, 10 of those 20 have been the 10 teams. Like there's not been this great variance of who's been involved. Yes, you've had some teams emerge. Miami came on
TCU,
from seemingly nowhere. TCU, but Oklahoma,
Boise State,
Nebraska's down again. I'm not saying there's no movement, but Oklahoma, USC, Alabama, Penn State,
since the 70s,
Michigan,
pretty similar.
Yeah, you have again. There's some, a few teams that have slipped down, a few teams that have slipped up, but largely it's the same cast of characters, and there's a reason for that. It means more to use the SEC slogan, but there are places, and you can argue whether that's good or bad, but it does. It means more at a place like Ohio State than it does at a place like Rutgers. It just does. And again, I'm not sitting here telling you that that's good or bad either. It's just a reality that there is a much bigger priority on, hey, we expect and bordering on need to be successful. We've talked about it, Goon. Penn State, the economy of Central Pennsylvania depends on Penn State football. And again, we can argue whether, my God, well, that's just an awful statement of societal priority. Fine, you may be right. I'm not even debating that, but the reality is, man, if Penn State, the reason when everything went down in 2012, it would have meant, had the death penalty been given to Penn State, if Penn State football actually went away, it would be, devastating. And listen, it's not just football. Football is the driving, but the university. Talk to the folks in Morgantown right now. Now, it's not West Virginia football, but that university has lost, I don't even know what it is, 30% of its schools within the college. It is devastating to Morgantown and that surrounding area economically. Again, we can argue whether or not this is healthy, right, good, but it is a reality. Penn State football, going back to what we were talking about, there are certain schools that are going to go tier one, whether it means revenue sharing, paying players, whatever. Penn State is one of them, and part of it is this area won't allow them not to, right? Jeff, they rely on this being a big time, and again, I'll use the air quotes, but big time college athletic program.
Well, and we need 7 home games to our town needs 7 home games. The hotels, the restaurants, the bars, all of this stuff needs 7 home games. So now with that scenario, in this new equal scenario that we're talking about, that's a 14-game schedule. I don't think they're going to go down that route because a team may have to play 18 games to win the national title. And I know that they don't want to go that route. So you got to go back and say it's going to be a 12-game schedule, so that's 6-6. Now, where are we going to make that extra? We better make the playoffs in that scenario.
Yeah.
Not just for the school, for the town, you know?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, I hear you.
We're not even high. We're like talking deep metaphors over here, man. Jeez. Like, well, what if we get rid of this? I mean, think about it. I believe that the economic impact is about $8 to $10 million every home game in this community. And you're going to take one of those away.
It is. We just had somebody on from the Happy Valley Adventure Bureau on our morning show this week. And I think kind of conservatively they estimate that it was 88. It was a little over 88 million. And again, I think kind of conservatively that was brought in with the seven football games this past season. And again, so that's just for the home game weekends. Then when you look at the people that are going to come up for other sporting events, but in large part, I think it's because of the identity they have with the football team. Like, I think that has a trickle-down effect, if you will, in terms of, I want to follow some of these other sports teams as well. And then, again, all of the, I'm not going to rehash everything, but I mean, when Penn State won national titles in 82, 86, the enrollment and the interest from students in coming to Penn State went through the roof. If you don't think, and again, I'm not arguing whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, but if you don't think part of why a lot of the kids that are going to Penn State now or wanting to come in here in the next few years, that it has nothing to do with Penn State football and wanting to be part of the whiteout experience and home football Saturdays, I mean, God bless you. You can believe that, but you're wrong. There are a lot of kids that, I'm not saying it's the sole reason they're coming here, but it is a factor. Make no mistake about it. It is a factor. They want to be here. They want to be part of that football scene on college football Saturdays, and it is a driving force for the economic community in our area.
Illinois is now choking on television right now, Jeff.
Yeah, boy, Penn State, they're going to make this look really close at the end.
I mean, I was at this point saying, all right, I was getting my text ready for my Illinois people, like, hey, we covered, kidding around. Never expecting this to be a win. But
I think that was a travel, but they didn't call it.
Totally a walk.
Yeah, but they didn't call it. So
listen,
Penn State's only going to end up Penn State could only end up losing this by 2 or 3, Goon.
7.5 was the line.
They were right there. I think you got to give them credit.
That's in a kid's head. It's as big as mine.
Yeah, if he makes both, it's pretty much over. I mean, he's going to make one. I guess you could hope.
Connie Hawkins, this kid, he's going to make it for sure.
Yeah.
He's guaranteed.
Folks,
that guy was ready for the whiteout right there.
We hope you have a great weekend. Good luck to the Lady Lions tonight. Lots of Penn State sports over the weekend. Hockey team will wrap up its home schedule this weekend against Wisconsin. Again, men's volleyball will be home in the South Gym against NJIT. Women's gymnastics with the Big Five meets. And then Penn State wrestling on Sunday at 2. Enjoy all of it. Penn State basketball looking to keep the momentum here against Indiana. That'll be a noon tip-off at the Jordan Center on Saturday. We will be back next Tuesday to talk about all of that and more on yet another edition of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show here from Quaker Steak and Lube. Until then, be good and be safe.
Coast into fall with a new Kia from Lion Country Kia. Right now, get a 24 Kia Seltos for 5.25% APR for up to 48 months. A new Sportage plug-in hybrid at 0.9% APR. Check out our 23 Sorrento hybrid for as low as 4.5% APR. And don't forget, all 2023 and 2024 Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Stop in and meet with one of our sales experts today and coast into fall at Lion Country Kia. We want to see you in a Kia.
Since retiring, I have spent my time searching the countryside for the hottest wings in America. I always seem to end up disappointed. You call these hot? Back off, Luigi.
Mamma mia.
Your handsy busboy. Your wings suck. I knew I should have stuck with Quaker Steak's triple atomic wings. You think I'm tough enough?
The Center Hall Farm Store has been serving Center County and beyond for well over a half century. A small family business, the Center Hall Farm Store specializes in animal nutrition and manufactures its feed fresh using local ingredients. Get the best in horse, cow, pig, chicken, and bird feeds. If you're not already a customer, stop in and see why so many of your neighbors are. The Center Hall Farm Store at 110 West Allison Street in Center Hall, or call us at 814-364-1393.
Sioka Toyota of Williamsport invites you to stop in today or check us out online. We have the smart path to your next Toyota, like the all-new Crown, BZ4X, the all-new Grand Highlander, Corolla Cross Hybrids, Sequoias, and more. Over 100 new Toyotas here and on the way. Don't make a $1,000 mistake. Choose Sioka Toyota of Williamsport and see the Sioka dealership's difference. Buy or reserve yours today and see for yourself why Sioka Toyota is the only stop you need for your next new car. Sioka Toyota, it just feels right.
Ready to be part of something bigger? Come pave the road to success at Glen O'Habaker and discover a career where your hard work and determination can build a bigger, better future. Our team believes we can build a stronger future together. Join us at Glen O'Habaker, where we value teamwork on the field and on the job. Go to GOHcareers.com to apply. GOHcareers.com. And best of luck to all the Center County sports teams all season long from everyone at Glen O'Habaker.
With a Timber Kids savings account, you can start to save money, earn prizes, and teach your kids the value of savings. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. Building futures is what we do at TFCU.
You really need to belong to a credit union. You belong at TFCU, Timberland Federal Credit Union, a credit union you can grow with.
The Goon and Ironhead.